Hi, this is Lynn Jacob, and I'm always coming to you from MLJinternational.com with little tidbits on how you can make simple tweaks in your business to get dramatic improvements. You know, tripling your profit quickly and having a lot happier team to work with and having more fun outside of the business, all those sorts of things. But today I've decided to do something quite different. I call it storytelling time. So do gather around, and I'm going to be sharing a couple of stories here about clients, and maybe I'll continue doing this, but for today it's a start. It was July 31st. As I was answering a call, thinking I knew who would be phoning at that moment, I saw a name I only vaguely recognized as I slid the green answer button on my phone. Turned out my guess wasn't even close. It was a general contractor with whom I'd connected on LinkedIn 2.5 years ago. He had gone to the same college as I had, same campus even. The little chat that ensued had him invite me for coffee next time I was in his area. Well, it just so happened that I was driving through his city some days later to a workshop that I'd be delivering. So we met at a Starbucks. Now, I prefer Tim Hortons, but hey. He liked what he heard. He liked my style and personality, but he needed to speak to a couple of other business owners who'd worked with me. Fair enough. I gave him the contact info for a sizable contractor in his city, as well as another one similar in size to his business, a few hours' drive away. I followed up. He hadn't yet heard back from my clients. After all, they're busier and they're more focused. Then I followed up again. Well, he wasn't ready. Okay, cool. And now, July 31st, 2018, 2.5 years later, he's calling me. I learned his daughter had just shown up for some fatherly support because she was feeling overwhelmed juggling her 3 businesses with a 6-month-old baby who obviously had become her priority. Now her 3 businesses felt like they were, to quote an electrical contractor client from a few years ago, old jalopies careening downhill with their wheels falling off. She was in tears, beside herself, not knowing what to do and feeling like packing it in was the only solution. Dad's advice? I met this business coach a few years ago and I know she can help you. Let's call her now. Smart dad, eh? He told me that I had always been in the back of his mind while he made some sizable changes on his own and while he resisted moving forward from there, dragging his heels even on the changes he did make. Cut to 1 week later, and they both, individually, had a diagnostic assessment with me of their businesses. They both saw the wisdom of investing in their businesses and in themselves and their family lives by joining in a coaching partnership with me. A few days later, the daughter had a strategic goal-setting session with me. A week and a half after that, we had an intensive coaching session, starting out regularly scheduled weekly coaching sessions to be sure she's following through on the ideas that came up for goals and the planning to get to those goals. Dad's intensive coaching session will take place in person later this month, but we did have a strategic goal-setting session approximately 3 weeks ago. This week, as I'm sharing this story with you, Tuesday, the day after Labor Day, my business's 15th anniversary. Happy anniversary, MLJ. This week, on the day after Labor Day, we had our first regularly scheduled follow-up coaching sessions to be sure that they're following through on what we've discussed thus far, as well as to help them overcome the challenge of the day. Now keep in mind that these are 2 separate clients. I'm just referring to them as they because it's father and daughter who just happened to come to me at the same time because the daughter has a very wise father. So the daughter shared so many wins with me in our coaching session that she was again astounded with the simplicity of all of the accomplishments she'd enjoyed in the 2 weeks that passed between our second and third coaching sessions. She just knew she had to release her manager when we spoke earlier, but it would be extremely inconvenient to do so before October. The day after our second coaching session, the intensive, where we dug deeply for 3 hours, that manager resigned. Yay! With my client raising the bar, following up more than usual, speaking differently, tolerating less, that is, tolerating nothing, the manager just didn't fit there anymore. My client didn't have to do the dirty work of firing her. The manager left on her own. This happens rather frequently because many business owners and corporate managers tolerate way too much. Also, the new manager she was hiring for another one of her businesses had a change in situations and asked if she could start earlier than October. Like immediately, if possible. Awesome! To build a nursery in one of the locations may have taken a few weeks for her contractor to be available, but that was okay. We have to do things when the time is right. But last-minute plan change in the contractor's schedule, and he started the nursery 3 days after our intensive coaching session. And many more wins than these, albeit somewhat less significant, possibly, but who knows of their significance long-term. Serendipitous, you might say. Just listen to Dad's story now. In our strategic goal setting session, he remembered, what he had thought about for years that would differentiate his business from all other general contractors in his booming city. It was an existing idea, one of his existing ideas. I frequently talk about them, but one that had never grown roots, let alone bore fruit. In his first ever staff meeting, first of many to come, that is, he started off slowly informing them that there will be numerous changes to the way things are done around here. One of them will be this differentiator. That staff meeting took place 1 week ago, exactly 1 week before our first regular coaching session. The following day, he goes to scope out a repair job, and while there, he, for the very first time, spoke in the language he will want his employees to use to offer up what will differentiate their company from all the others, and he hadn't even mentioned that part to his employees yet. He walked out of there with the repair job and a $200,000 contract for other work that needed to be done, for which the plant manager knew no one on whom to call, and so it just kept being pushed away and pushed away on his to-do list. Just imagine how much more receptive my client's employees will be to accept that they'll need to pitch this differentiator, hearing how successful they can be, especially when they'll be rewarded for it. My client informed me that this $200,000 contract was 100% thanks to our coaching session. I always promise my clients that while we're working together, I will help them stay focused on recuperating their investment in working with me, because it is a sizable investment. Most of my clients recuperate their entire investment in a 6-month or a 1-year coaching program inside of 3 months. Easily, quickly and easily. This is only the second client, though, who has recuperated his entire investment and received an ROI on his investment within just 8 days. So he then was invited to bid on a $1 million job with only 2 other invited contractors. As he knows, he told me that he has to win the bid, but he's delighted with how he is one of only 3 invited to bid on this job, as opposed to being caught up in the bidding war with everybody and their brother, some of whom bid too low by mistake, or through lack of experience, or because they're so hungry, just to keep their guys. He's only bidding against his neighbors, contractors of the same caliber as his company. In time, my clients replaced the word competitor with neighbor. It still amazes me how many contractors, when we first speak, tell me that there's only one way to get jobs, and that's through the bidding war. Now, I know you're wrong if you too believe that this is the only way you can get jobs. But I'm friendly, loving, and gentle when I'm showing you how silly your limiting beliefs are. And back to my client. Best yet, about 5 years ago, they did a huge job very successfully. From out of the blue, the contact person for that job called him late last week, looking for referrals for one of their plants in my client's area, thinking my client would know whom to refer as well as whom to avoid. Long story short, my client simply needed to visit the site, size up the work, and give them a budget. After all, this customer, my client, from years ago, already knows, loves, and trusts my client and his company. Talk about a handsome ROI on his coaching partnership. So while for this call from out of the blue, there may not be any concrete evidence that it happened thanks to my clients having invested in our coaching partnership, though he knows it's much too coincidental for it not to be as a result of his stepping up his new language, his new way of responding to questions, his new focus on what differentiates his company from his neighbors, and most definitely is thanks to his having dared to invest in himself. And did I mention my promise? Fun has never been so profitable. How much fun do you think both of these business owners were having throughout the experiences, especially while experiencing the results? They were having tons of fun just sharing the experiences with me in our coaching sessions. So if you've ever wondered if there just might be a faster and easier way for you to enjoy the business results that you'd rather have, and to enjoy tons more fun with them and with your business, send me a message. Check out my website, MLJinternational.com, and email me. Or just keep it simple. Phone me, 613-484-3861. This is Lynn Jacob of MLJinternational.com, just wanting so much to help all the businesses out there, especially those owned by men, to get so much better results and have tons more fun doing it. So go forth and prosper and be profitable and have tons of fun.